Welcome to the latest edition of Hogtown Hangs, a podcast from the Hogtown Brass Quintet. I'm your host, Jay Austin, and I'm joined today, as always, by my co-host, Tristan Tai. And today we're speaking with Sharon Lee and Marcus Scholtes. Sharon has served as concertmaster and contractor of the Toronto Concert Orchestra since 2014 and is music director of the Korean-Canadian Symphony Orchestra. As an orchestral musician, Sharon won her first job as principal second violin of the Thunder Bay Symphony at 26 years old. Sharon is also the recipient of the Fenyves String Scholarship and the Ontario Arts Council's Orford String Quartet Award. Multi-talented artist Marcus Scholtes excels on both the violin and piano, performing frequently as a soloist on both instruments on the same concert program. He also serves as the Associate Concertmaster of Symphonia Toronto. He's an alumnus of the prestigious Jacobs School of Music at Indiana University, where he graduated with a Doctor of Music degree with minors in conducting and music education. He's the former concertmaster of the Schleswig-Holstein Music Festival Orchestra in Germany and has toured much of Europe with this ensemble. And he's also an original member of the Aldeburgh Strings based in the UK. How did I do there, Marcus?
Pretty good.
Thanks for being here today, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us. It's going to be fun.
I just stepped on Tristan's toes there, so I apologize for that. But let's kick things right off by talking about your new roles as interim co-artistic directors of the Toronto Concert Orchestra. What have you guys got in store for audiences this summer?
Oh my goodness. So decision was made before COVID hit, and we were so excited. We had a concert series of, obviously live concerts, and we were deep in the finishing stages of planning the series. And,
like a regular summer season with 13 concerts.
Yeah, and I don't know if this might be not so public. No, it is public knowledge. We are not at Casa Loma anymore, so we were also in the final stages of confirming our new venue and getting all of that ready, and then this hit, and it was a pause for a little bit because no one knew how long this would go for. We were all kind of expecting like a 2-week pause, and then concerts might start trickling back again. We had no idea. Yeah,
well, in TCO we had some concerts. There were two in April and one in May that were already scheduled, and they were supposed to happen. And then as it went on, those got canceled. The April ones got canceled. Of course, the May ones got canceled.
Yeah.
And then we were already thinking, well, the summer in jeopardy, and of course, yes, it was.
Yeah, and then it was when the City of Toronto announced that everything, I think initially they said everything until the end of June is canceled. So when they said that, we just kind of took a step back and said, okay, this is not safe to do. We can't go ahead with concerts the way that we know it because it's not safe. And
and then in mid-May, Sharon had the idea, let's do an online series.
Yeah, the initial idea started very differently from what it ended up being. And initially I was thinking 13 concerts as originally planned. So if you hear laughter in the background, that's our kid.
Another Tristan.
That's another Tristan. Yeah. But 13 concerts with musicians splitting concerts in half. So one person doing one half from their home, the other person doing the other half, just live. Simple, easy breezy. And then that idea, I think is a little bit, it's getting a little, I don't want to say tired, but it's certainly being done by a lot of people. These concerts from the living room, and some people do it very well. And then there are also some people who don't have the same kind of internet connection or technology access.
Cameras, mics.
Yeah, and those things make a huge difference. So, and we were watching and learning from everybody else doing these, and we just made the decision to spend a bit more money and do fewer concerts and make them pre-recorded and try to eliminate as much interruptions as possible.
Yeah, it's something that we tried to be aware of because we've been going through the presenter cycle for a few years now, and the idea of reaching out to these presenters and offering pre-recorded concerts has been met with, like, some are really, really excited about it, and some of them, they're worried that they can't connect with their audiences because in you know, I'm not going to say Northern Ontario, but north of Toronto, and you get into cottage country, internet connections can be very spotty, and it's tougher to consume, right? So it's such a, I mean, we're all, we said this before we went live, but we're all learning on the job here, and we're flying almost by the seat of our pants, trying to figure out how to keep doing the thing that we that we love to do. So over the past few summers, the former music director, Maestro Kerry Stratton, he'd obviously sketched out plans. How much of his plan for this season or influenced, I guess, how you guys programmed for the shorter season?
Yeah, well, he left a lot of notes for obviously orchestral concerts, and so we were basing our regular summer off of that, and then we kind of modified the first one we had last 2 weeks ago, Lovebirds in Song. That was his idea. It was a love letter to Elizabeth,
his
wife, and such a beautiful idea and concept.
Yeah.
We thought that would be a beautiful way to start our series this summer.
We kind of ran with that, and we obviously can't program the same pieces that he had in mind because we don't have access to a 44-piece orchestra. But we used the Lovebirds idea, and we got couples that are within the orchestra to come in and do their thing, and we also programmed around birds. So Elizabeth is an avid bird watcher and bird photographer, so that was
she takes amazing pictures. Yeah.
Oh, right on.
Yeah. So yeah, we have some other notes. We don't want to spoil too much. Especially when you announce the full orchestra versions. But yeah, Kerry left us a lot to build on and a lot to go off of.
And we should mention you guys have a concert coming up next Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right.
Yeah.
This is our Thank You Canada concert. It's a little tribute. It's a musical tribute to Canada and its inhabitants. And it's our this whole period of COVID. It's been a nice little restart button and very necessary for many organizations, I think, across, like, not even just arts organizations. And so for this concert, we really are trying to show a reflection of the Canada that we see in our day-to-day. So yeah, I hope you enjoy. Please tune in for that.
It's June 30th.
We're very proud of the program that we came up with for this, and it's I think a lot of people will identify well with it.
Cool. Excellent.
Yeah.
All right, Tristan, do you want to jump in here?
Yeah, so like we're talking about this, your summer series and how you've had to pivot to moving digital. So with that happening, Marcus specifically, could you speak a little bit about any tools like software or hardware that you've had to learn to use for creating music and editing stuff together?
Yeah, so I mean, like many musicians, we've quickly on a dime had to change the way we go about things. And I mean, I've done a lot of I've done these online concerts now and, pre-recorded stuff. I do some video editing, but I'm not nearly, I'm nowhere near a professional level. And it kind of happened overnight that you have to learn all these new tools. And we upgraded some of our equipment too. And I edited one of those split screen Brady Bunch videos, which of course is like so time consuming.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a challenge. I mean, it's definitely been, I have a whole new skill set now, but at the same time, I would love to go play some live concerts.
In a lot of ways, it's less time consuming just to do it live.
Yeah, even with rehearsal time in there, it's still less time consuming. Yeah. So moving sort of off the digital concert things, do you guys have any advice for artists like struggling to find their voice or struggling to find motivation while in isolation at all?
Well, for us, it's been like I've actually loved this period of isolation. We've had some time to do some home projects. We've had lots of family time. We've had on the artistic side of things lots of time to practice, and I'm sure all of us have. Well, I have. all of us have artistic projects that, there are like personal projects that we want to put time into, but so much of the time we're so busy working that we don't have time for these artistic projects. And so really this period of COVID has, I've gotten a lot done. I've been very productive in my personal projects, and it's been kind of wonderful. So I don't know if advice is, follow your dream. Now is the time. You have the time to do it now. So get it done. Even the practical stuff, like we had time to update our websites.
That's true.
We had time to do all kinds of administrative work.
Yeah.
So we've actually been extremely busy during the last couple months. And
the other interesting thing that particularly non-orchestral musicians might want to keep it at the back of their mind during this time is that this is kind of this time, this weird lockdown time has been like an equalizer kind of, because orchestras can't be nearly as active as an individual musician or a small ensemble. So this is kind of, I feel like this next season is probably going to be the time when small ensembles and solo artists and people from home who are really innovative with their technical equipment, that's their time to shine.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I know we've been trying.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go, Tristan.
No, we've been trying to come up with some new like innovative ways to reach audiences as well, because you're absolutely right. Like I think this is a time for chamber musicians and soloists to really to get their product out there and more visible. So we're brainstorming about, last week we talked about doing drive-up concerts in like a church parking lot.
Yeah.
Thing like that, and we're also, like you said, we're using it to sort of flex our admin side. And we've come up with a new press kit, and we're going to be working on our website. We've got a whole bunch of other things on the go. We've been talking to people about new compositions, so it has been sort of it's it kind of sucks to start over, as it were, but it's nice to have a flat line to begin growing again.
Yeah,
I'll put it.
Yeah,
I think with Fritz Kreisler, the violinist, he was active in the 1920s, I think 20s, 30s. As a performing violinist, and at the time like radio was just coming out, and I don't know, I think some people were hesitant about just like giving away this performance for free kind of thing, but he saw the potential of it, of like, well, look how many more people I can reach now. Instead of playing my one recital for 50 people, it's open to the world. Anybody that has a radio can now listen in. So it's kind of like us too. We're used to having just our small circle, but now because everything has moved online, we can reach so many more people. So that's also very attractive, and probably it will be here to stay.
Well, and there is research to support the idea that live streaming can actually increase size of a live the audience of a live performance. It's a lot of the data that exists. It exists in terms of rock festivals and more on the popular music side than on the classical and chamber music side. But I think that there's a lesson to be learned in that if you can absolutely increase the scope of who gets to experience your product without the fence in the way of having to pay for a ticket for something that you might not know that you're going to enjoy, the barrier of entry is much lower. Yeah. And then it really does put the emphasis on the artist or on the group or on the whatever, the orchestra, to put on the greatest show that they're capable of putting on, so that they want those people to come back. I mean, everyone talks about growing audience size, and this is really, it's sort of a 6-month investment in putting your money where your mouth is.
Speaking of reaching broader audiences, I'm just going to take a quick little break here to plug a little something for everyone, for all artists really, but us as well. Bandcamp.com has once again agreed to waive fees on all album sales to help support artists during this time. So please consider heading over to bandcamp.com, where you can grab music by us, the Hogtown Brass, or many, many other great artists. Your support is very much appreciated, and it is helping us get through this time. Keep the lights on. All right.
So I wanted to jump in. This is sort of a question for both of you, and feel free to talk over top of each other if need be. What have you found has had the steepest learning curve in creating a fully digital series?
Probably the logistics of it. because not only are you like planning now, well, and the way we're doing it too, because we have someone that's collecting all the videos and, you know, stringing them all together. So it's not only, you know, who's going to play what, but it's what order, how are we going to put them in? Do we put talking points in between? And
Right.
the live concert, all of that can just be on the fly, your talking points and everything. But now it has to be completely planned out, everything thought out.
The speaking points have been the biggest challenge for us for when we record the concerts. Because when you're at a live concert, you can say things twice. It doesn't really matter. And actually, it's good to say things more than once, and because not everyone is like focused in on the screen listening to you, and who knows, maybe they're not focused in anyways. But yeah, making sure that we speak clearly, concisely, precisely, and getting a take of a long stretch of that has been the biggest challenge for us. I don't know if the learning curve has been met yet, but we're working on it.
And of course, you know, we're now co-artistic directors of TCO, and Kerry was the head of TCO, and I mean, his speaking was impeccable.
Yeah.
He rarely faltered, or I just faltered on falter.
Yeah. Well, Kerry had like 30 years of radio behind him, and he was also a voice actor. And there were moments on radio you would hear, like live radio show, and he'd be like, "And now over to you, Sarah," and dead silence. And so Kerry would be like, "Okay, Sarah's not there," and then he'd just like whip up these jokes, like, you know, one after the other. And he's like, I always keep these in my back pocket just for times like this, you know. And yeah, so it's that kind of talent that we're trying to chase here. So it's
Definitely.
Yeah.
So has anything been easier than you thought it was going to be?
No.
No. That's a great answer. I mean, it's funny. I mean, sorry, go ahead.
The actual concert is easier because we just have to sit and watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. On Tuesday evenings, it's great. We watch our own concert with a glass of wine, and, you know, kind of kick back and relax and watch it go by. That's absolutely right. Yeah.
When you don't have to find a babysitter, it's a little easier to enjoy. And is there anything that's been harder than you thought that it would be?
For us, for the Toronto Concert Orchestra in particular, marketing has been a bit tricky. We are starting all of our social media channels from scratch again. The login information has been lost over a few cycles of people who are in charge of that. So getting that again from scratch was tricky. We started that process in February, and our Facebook is now like finally up to like 500, I think, which is great. And we're just watching that grow. And yeah, so please like us on Facebook.
Do you want to take a second? Where can people find you on Facebook? How would they find the Toronto Concert Orchestra?
/ Toronto Concert Orchestra official. So that's the new one. And the TCO Facebook page currently has a picture of Kerry on it. So that's the one that they're looking for.
And are you on Instagram as well?
We are on Instagram, and it's also Toronto Concert. So on Instagram, there's a limit of characters you can use for the name. So we are Toronto_concert_org, ORCH_official.
Okay.
I mean, if you click on the 2 Instagrams that exist under the Toronto Concert Orchestra name, it's pretty obvious which one's the current one. The last one ends like 2 years ago. So
and we also started we started a new YouTube channel too. So we have a couple throwback videos from last summer, a couple intro videos introducing us. So, and we're really just starting from the beginning with that. Did TCO have a YouTube channel?
I think Kerry had a YouTube channel, but we were more on Vimeo.
I see.
So it's really a new beginning on YouTube.
Oh, that's great. It's exciting when you get to sort of launch fresh and put your own thumbprint, you know, on the product. So, My final question before Tristan tags in to ask about maybe the coolest gig that we've ever played. Do either of you see digital creation as a skill that has now become vital? Like, if we fast forward 6 months to a year, things are back to some sense of normal. Do you see the skills that we're surviving with now? Have they become the kind of thing that needs to be, like, everyone needs to be capable of doing them, or do you see it staying kind of somewhat specialized?
Sure.
I mean, we have a couple colleagues that, musicians too, that have just overnight become video editors, and some are very successful at what they're doing, and maybe it's not for everybody, but if for a 6-month plan or a 1-year plan, it's a great second job while we're waiting this thing out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it also in the I think when you're, the way I heard your question, Jay, was more than just video editing. It was like online presence in general, and that has been kind of a lifeline for a lot of musicians even before COVID. So particularly in the gigging world, in the wedding industry, things like that, if you didn't have online presence, no one could find you. So unless you were very well connected within your own network, and you were on the in with several contractors in the city, there's no way you can get work. And
right.
I'll be the first to tell you, if someone I don't know at all, cold calls me and says, can I, like, please hire me for this gig? I won't say no, because what if they're amazing? And the first thing I do is I'll look them up on their social media or whatever online content that they have available. So yeah, I think that's a tool that definitely transcends this lockdown time.
Yeah, it's amazing. I've had a variety of separate positions as well. Like, I've worked in sales a bit, and the first sort of lesson of sales is, if you don't ask them to buy, they're not going to. And I think the thing I've taken the most from my sales training and applied to my music is just the ability to now, with the Hogtown Brass, we go to conferences, whether it's Ontario Contact, or we've showcased at Contact East, and we've applied to showcase across the country. It's being able to sit behind a table and not talk like an artist about being one, but talking about your product and talking about your pricing and talking about your logistics and your load in and your, what lighting do you need, and all the things that the detail work that it's really easy to sell if you just don't think about it like you're an artist. But it kind of takes shifting your focus. And so I've enjoyed having those skills, and it's definitely, I think it's paid off for us at least a little bit. Hopefully more in the future. All right, Tristan, you're up.
Yeah. Now a quick flashback to the past here. Sharon actually hired us to play on a concert series with the Toronto Chamber Players in 2017. We briefly mentioned this on a previous interview with Dylan Maddox, who was our second trumpet player at the time. We were hired to play a little bit of an unusual gig, in which we were on a very small pirate ship, I guess, for lack of a better word. It's a Pirate Life Toronto, I believe, is the organization down on the harbor front, and we bobbed around the Bay of Toronto for a while, playing all kinds of Bach and all kinds of RF in the middle of a beautiful sunset, and it's one of the more interesting gigs I've ever played. Sharon, do you have any specific favorite memories from that night?
Oh my gosh, so many. That was a great concert. I loved working with Pirate Life Toronto. They're so easygoing. They love having live music. That's actually, I don't know if your audience is familiar with Buns. That's a Buns success story. It's a trading website, and that's how we got to know them. For your concert, I remember that there was this lady who, she was a young lady, and she inserted herself in the middle of the brass quintet. Just like, I can't remember if she was sitting or she might have even been lounging or lying down a little bit. And yeah, she was just there enjoying this, surround sound brass quintet, which I don't think many people could claim that they have done before. So that was.
If you ask string players, usually aren't you guys trying to get out of the way of the brass players?
I do remember that now. That must have been. I think what we were playing one of our favorites, a Nightingale sang in Berkeley Square, which is just this really, really beautiful jazz arrangement. And I suppose maybe it was the beer that was available on board, or maybe it was the beautiful sunset, but she was just having a great time sitting in the middle of our quartet. It was an interesting experience, to say the least.
My memory from that night is that as we were just about to pull into the dock at the end of the night, and we were one tune short. And we'd rehearsed that morning to get some stuff together for a show 2 or 3 days later that, again, Sharon, you'd booked us for at Timothy Eaton in Toronto. And I looked across the band and I said, well, I guess we're going to play. And we played, it was a Queen cover that we'd only read through once. And the look of fear on Dylan's face was... at that point in the night, everyone was having a great time and whatever happened. I think it went okay, but I just remember the look of fear on Dylan's face that we were going to try to pull that off on about 7 minutes of rehearsal.
It also happened to be after the sun had set, and only 2 out of 5 of us were on iPads at the time. So it was, there was a bit of improvisation, I think, by the end of it.
All right.
Audience. So that was the friendliest audience. So nothing could really go wrong.
We had a great time. I can't speak for the rest of the band, but I know I'd be back on the pirate ship in a heartbeat.
I'd do it in a second. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys sounded awesome. It was such a good concert.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you. We should have you on more often. You're saying such nice things about us.
Great. All right. I'm going to insert one more little plug here for the band. Have you ever wanted a Hogtown Brass t-shirt, but you were never a member of the band? Well, we've got you covered, literally. We've recently launched the Hogtown Brass web store through teespring.com to help us keep the proverbial lights on and to help us continue producing more and more content for our fans. Currently available, we've got t-shirts, hoodies, and tank tops, all in a variety of sizes and colors. So head on over to teespring.com. Help us out to Hogtown Brass.
Perfect. So I have one last question for Sharon and Marcus before we let them plug the concert series that's coming up next Tuesday. I believe it's at 7:30 p.m. on YouTube. I just did that for you, but you can do it again. Last August, the TCO family, it took a big hit with the passing of Maestro Kerry Stratton. You two have been tapped on the shoulder to fill in for step into his very large shoes. Can you speak about, you probably knew him better than most in the orchestra. Do you have any thoughts about Kerry and about his legacy that you'd like to share with everyone watching?
Oh my goodness. I don't even know where to start. Yeah, Kerry was larger than life. He had this vision that an orchestra could exist, an orchestra of fully professional musicians and high caliber could exist in Toronto and could coexist with, the giant here at the Toronto Symphony. And he was right. And I don't think many other people could have seen that. A lot of it also had to do with our structure. Our structure is that we run on one rehearsal usually, and it's this is why we can only hire people of like very, very high caliber, and our musicians are so great, and we would not be able to do the concerts that we do if we couldn't do them on one rehearsal. But he had this way of like bringing out the best energy in the like across the room, not just within the musicians but also within the audience. He had them listening in a certain way, and that kind of energy is key to keeping arts not only alive but relevant in a society where everything is or can be like more disposable. And and classical music is not really the go-to for a lot of people, but
No.
The people that we reached out to in our previous venue, it was I highly doubt that they were usually classical music concert goers, and they came back week after week. So there's something magical about that level of energy that Kerry brought, and for us to be entrusted with that role is huge. And yeah, this orchestra means so much to us. It has a lot of meaning, both personally and musically.
Well, you told a beautiful story on the first show, the first of the Symphony in Your Gardens shows, about Carrie almost introducing the two of you to one another. And I mean, I can't imagine the sense of connection, right? Just for that alone, let alone, you know, summers worth of work and artistic sort of gratification, right? It's, I'm trying to hold it together. I mean, I knew him a lot less than you guys did, but he touched everyone. He touched everyone in a way that he's missed. That's all I can say. The outpouring of love at his memorial service at Casa Loma it was in the fall. It was beautiful. I mean, and people from all walks of life were there and speaking about how he improved their lives. Hopefully we all can do that over the course of our careers, but it was amazing to be a part of.
Yeah, I mean, he was just one of those, like, such a charismatic person. He was just lights up a room.
Yeah,
Definitely. Do you guys have anything you'd like to plug?
Yeah, our concert series. Come listen. It's
Symphony in Your Garden.
Symphony in Your Garden, or your living room, or you know, if you want to listen in the tub, that's fine too. Symphony in Your Garden. It's every other Tuesday at 7:30. The next one is on June 30th, and that is our Thank You Canada concert. Yeah, and then we have 4 more programs after that will take us to the end of August. And the Hogtown Brass is playing on our Around the World in 40 Minutes concert. And that concert is at the end of July.
Great. Wonderful. Well, we're looking forward to being a part of the new Toronto Concert Orchestra season. And we're continuing to work with you guys. You've been huge supporters of ours since the very beginning. So we can't thank you enough for that.
Thank you.
All right. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting with Marcus and Sharon today. So thank you both so much for joining us today. It's just great hanging out with you. And thank you, our audience, for tuning in for another episode of Hogtown Hangs with Jay and Tristan. We haven't yet confirmed our next guest, so please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for updates on the next show and other things we've got in the works.
Thanks very much, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye.